Kobayashi Teppei is practicing his swordplay before conversing with his chill father and strict mother before heading to school. That was the last time he saw his parents. Teppei is at his parents' grave when he says he plans to accept Arima Isshin's offer to adopt him, from broke to conglomerate successor. A horse carriage is being chased as Teppei watches from atop. He decides to chase after the pursuers and jumps off onto the pursuing car. As Teppei's about to be shot, the butler Alfred jumps off the carriage to fight the thugs off while Teppei grabs the girl, protecting her as they both fall off a cliff. Teppei and the girl survive the fall. Apparently, trees cushioned their fall. She introduces herself as Charlotte Hazelrink, a princess. Teppei takes her to Alfred and Charlotte leaves after giving him a kiss on the cheek. Arima Isshin is Teppei's maternal grandfather. Isshin tells him that his parents were murdered, but he doesn't want Teppei to go for the path of revenge. Isshin tells Teppei that he should be wary, as in the party he would likely find people against him, as well as potential allies. Vincent Van Hausen approaches Teppei among a swarm of people and introduces his daughter, Maria Van Hausen, before leaving. Back in his room, Teppei sees someone with a sword from his window. He gets excited, grabs his own katana, and runs downstairs. The girl attacks as soon as she sees him armed. After a spar, Isshin and Vincent come up, and it is revealed that the girl is his daughter, Sylvia Van Hausen, Teppei's fiancée. Wait, what? Fujikura Yu, the maid, was taken from an orphanage. Isshin intends to oversee Teppei and his decisions in this new environment. Teppei and Yu are dropped off in a mansion, and Teppei is welcomed by numerous maids before he goes to lie in his lavish bed. Yeah, he's rich, we get it. He calls Yu and asks her if getting a fiancé without knowing anything about them is normal for rich people. Yu tells him that Silva is an aristocrat of the Hermish kingdom, but Teppei interjects, stating that he means that he knows nothing about her personality. Next day, Teppei is escorted to Shuho Academy with Yu in tow, the biggest school for rich people in Japan. Teppei runs into Hojoin Seika, school club president, and two of her followers. The president inspects his clothing before leaving. Yu comes and takes him to the principal before they go to their classroom. Nezu introduces himself before a bunch of other side characters come along, trying to get a piece of Teppei's Arima blood. While he's being harassed, Charlotte sneaks in and surprises Teppei, much to the astoundment of the student body. Charlotte and Teppei have tea where he tells her about his situation with Sylvia. Charlotte takes him to the fencing club so they can clear the misunderstanding, but instead, Teppei and Sylvia end up sparring. Yu brings Teppei his sword before the two properly start. Teppei loses the match, but the two end up closer. The girls recommend the social club, so Teppei asks Yu about it. She tells him it's the club where the highest ranked students go. Next day, Teppei, Charlotte, and Silva go to the clubroom building. Nezu Haruko is there along with Seika and her friends. Seika and Silva end up in a tussle where Seika states that Sylvia is just kissing up to the Arima name. The group of three even goes and fires at Teppei, saying he used to be the son of a noodle shop owner. Thus begins a training montage where the girls teach proper social etiquette to him. Teppei discusses with Yu about how he ended up in the position he was in now. They talk about finding allies, and she gives him a pep talk. Back in school, practice continues with the girls. The 151st Shuho Academy ball comes up, and with it, Teppei's test. Teppei impresses everyone during the ball, including Seika herself. In the end, she declares that Teppei must be able to organize a party in 2 weeks if he wants to make it into the club. After messing with the bike that doesn't fall, Teppei heads to the school and discusses with the girls about the party. He also finds out that Hojoin owns a leading brand with the fashion world, with Seika being the top model and designer. Teppei asks Yu why Seika thinks of him as an enemy, but realizes that it may just be the Arima name. So he heads to Isshin for clarity. He receives a card the next day in class, which he plans to give to Seika. Teppei heads to St. Rose's new collection launch, Seika's brand, as Nezu's replacement since he has a cold. Replacement as an interviewee. Seika is less than thrilled about this. After modeling, she heads with Teppei to the interview. It involves a lot of Teppei getting stabbed in the foot while they get asked questions about the club and Seika's private life. Teppei ends up talking about Seika with sincerity and praise for fulfilling her duties. After the interview, the two have dinner, and Teppei talks to her about how she hates the Arima family due to an event that occurred in the past. During the economic boom, when Isshin was busy with work, his wife had an affair with Seika's grandfather. After finding out, Isshin banned her and cut off Seika's family from his conglomerate. Teppei takes out a letter where he had been granted charge of the shops. He revealed that Isshin regretted his decision and wanted to make amends by letting her use the Arima Group stores to sell her products. The two grow closer. In class, Nezu offers to help Teppei with the party. The two plan on going somewhere shady, but Charlotte shows up and makes a different plan. She asks Silva to cover for her when they head out. Back at Sylvia's house, her father and sister tease Sylvia about why she isn't talking about Teppei today. Her father then tells her that it's fine if she puts her happiness above everyone for a change. Meanwhile, Charlotte is trying to convince Alfred that she's going to stay over at Sylvia's house tomorrow when she gets a call from her. Sylvia pauses on call and only asks Charlotte to say hello to Teppei tomorrow. She seems quite conflicted. Princess in a pinch over feelings for our prince. The next day, Teppei and Charlotte go to an amusement park in Osaka. The two have an enjoyable date together. After some takoyaki, the two ride a Ferris wheel, and here he tells Charlotte how his parents had died. Charlotte comforts Teppei, stating that his family is still in his heart. Teppei and Charlotte also promise to have an eventful winter. Charlotte asks Teppei if he'll marry Sylvia before telling him about how close they were. Sylvia had also lost her mother in her childhood. After the heartfelt talk, Teppei gets an idea for the party, and Charlotte hugs him from behind before asking him to promise her that he'll always remember her. His idea is to take everyone on a normal vacation to a hot spring. We see the rich girls having trouble walking through the train gates before they somehow enter the trains. Quite the achievement. The gang reach the resort and split up to head to their segregated rooms. Back in the boys' room, Teppei, Nezu, and two randoms are chatting about peeping. Of course, a treasured moment for the boys. The boys get a lashing before the boys and girls head off to the gaming corner. Back in the girls' room, they discuss how everyone has become friends with Teppei. Seika even says that she'll give him an official acceptance to the club. The ladies make a hot springs pact that no matter who Teppei chooses, they won't get jealous. At school, Charlotte and Teppei are messing around when Alfred jumps in and says he'll crush Teppei. Charlotte confesses her love for him, and Teppei gets chased by a murderous Alfred. The two run to the lawn. Charlotte has a twisted ankle, so Teppei carries her to the infirmary. Outside, a guy parachutes to the academy where everyone is. He's Herman Bezelheim, a business tycoon from Hazelrink. Herman goes directly to Charlotte and kisses her hand. He's her fiancé. The rival flies into the room. When he leaves, Sylvia asks Charlotte about him, but she doesn't answer. Back at Sylvia's, her father gets a phone call where it seems Frimish is in trouble. Sylvia and her little sister overhear the conversation. At school, Sylvia confronts Charlotte about a nuclear weapons facility being built between the borders of Hazelrink and Firmish, possibly by a third country. Seika comes out. She reveals that something may happen at Arima Hills tonight, where Teppei is supposed to meet with Charlotte. Charlotte gets a message from Teppei to meet him tonight, a rather shady message. At Arima Hills, Teppei is setting up reservations when Hartman shows up and they chat for a bit. Isshin and Hartman sit down along with Vincent. Hartman's assistant, Josephine, takes her leave. The three plan to build a resort on the border of the two countries while another country intends to build a weapons facility. Isshin tells Hartman to be careful. Meanwhile, Charlotte enters the suite at Arima Hills, but Teppei is with Yu, practicing his swordsmanship. He calls Charlotte, who drops her phone due to a sudden power outage. Just then, Teppei gets a message that says, "We've taken your parents, and now we will take your lover." The scene cuts to the soldiers outside Arima Hills. That was a very sudden turn of events. The soldiers were called by Josephine. They surround Isshin, Hartman, and Vincent, but a message is sent by Isshin to Teppei. The terrorists watch the news, but Seika got word and is using her media channels to censor the news about Arima Hills. Sudden Mission Impossible vibes here. Yu hacks the surveillance cameras for a moment and Teppei gets a feel for the situation. He resolves to go save everyone. Sylvia comes along as well, and bikers follow the two as they leave the estate. A chase ensues. Meanwhile, a thug tells his story. They hate the Arima Group because they could see Arima Hills above them while they lived in poverty, so they intend on showing hell to the rich. Teppei and Sylvia infiltrate the building with Yu providing radio backup. After dispatching multiple guards, they meet up with the Arima SP unit while Seika throws a concert to keep cameras off the building. Hartman tackles Josephine to allow Vincent and Isshin to escape, but a gunshot is heard. The building is slowly being secured while Sylvia and Teppei head inside from the roof. Hartman is lying with a bullet in his chest while Josephine explains that the goal is to ruin their reputation before ordering retreat. The soldiers in Charlotte's room reveal there is a bomb planted in the hills. Sylvia and Teppei make it to where the elders are before Teppei goes to save Charlotte. Teppei embraces Charlotte. I think the ship may be sailing. Charlotte tells him about the bomb that was planted, and we see an hour timer start. Yu has discovered multiple bombs as well, and another blackout occurs. Seika, Sylvia, Isshin, and Vincent are transported out via helicopter. Teppei and Charlotte are locked inside, meanwhile with Charlotte a bit too optimistic that Teppei would somehow resolve the situation. Meanwhile, Yu is told by Isshin to remove a virus in the group's system at the cost of deleting all the data of the Arima Group. Lots of stuff going on here, definitely a Mission Impossible story. Teppei is tasked with defusing a bomb in the designer room after the Arima Hills systems are back up. Meanwhile, Seika and Sylvia talk about their feelings. Sylvia tells Seika about how she couldn't cry at her mother's grave. She states that right now she possibly has the same feelings for Teppei. Seika admits that she loves him too, even though he's annoying. The systems are back online and Sylvia and Seika make it back inside the building. Teppei runs towards the bomb with Charlotte in tow, and the third soldier waiting for them right around the corner. Sylvia and Seika reach another bomb and they have to cut one of the colored wires. Teppei and the soldier face off, gun versus wooden sword. Teppei deflects the bullets before knocking out the thug. Pretty anticlimactic. Sylvia and Seika somehow defuse the bomb. Teppei reaches the bomb with 10 seconds left and throws it into a dust chute. Mission accomplished. When the gang is celebrated, Sylvia tells Charlotte about Hartman's sacrifice and she expresses remorse and sadness, stating that she finally fell in love with him when he died. Hartman, disguised as a driver, picks Charlotte up. Isshin and Vincent come to where everyone else is and ask about Charlotte. Everyone realizes that someone else kidnapped her. Josephine enters the vehicle and makes Charlotte faint with chloroform. Teppei is fuming in his room over his helplessness. Hartman's abduction was caught on camera by security and everyone was told this by Isshin. Charlotte seems to have been taken by Hazelrink. Teppei spends his days wandering aimlessly, but everywhere reminds him of Charlotte. Meanwhile, Charlotte wakes up in a train with Hartman next to her. He states that he plans to crush Arima Teppei because he's the successor. He's revealed as the mastermind behind the Arima Hills incident. His aim is to take everything from Isshin. He leaves Charlotte to the two idiot soldiers. Meanwhile, Yu has found a lead as to where Charlotte is and tells it to Sylvia. Seika finds Teppei distraught and hopeless. Seika lashes at him and tells him that he needs to save her. Then she kisses him and tells him that he's still the same person she fell in love with. Sylvia walks in right after and smacks Teppei for being pathetic and acting weak right now. She tells him that Charlotte is heading to Russia and that she needs to go save herself before leaving. Yu is left to approach Teppei, and so she comes close to him while he's in his room. She comforts him with his head on her lap and he asks her to tell her Charlotte's location. The wheels begin to turn. Teppei heads out. Isshin gives Teppei a pep talk and a badass katana that can cut through steel. At the airport, Seika is given a moment alone with Teppei. The two argue a bit before Seika asks her what Teppei would do if she was abducted. Then she tightly embraces him, obviously worried. Teppei tells her that he'd rescue her before leaving his plane. Meanwhile, Yu requests assistance from Alfred and Vincent on the mission. Teppei and Yu meet with Sylvia at Firmish. Later at a party, Sylvia and Teppei have a moment outside alone. Sylvia shows Teppei a picture of her mother, one she keeps in a pendant. They reminisce about the first time they met and hold a sparring match. Ah yes, true love. Sylvia wins the match and declares that they should cancel the engagement, as she doesn't want to marry a man who lost twice to her. She says this before immediately kissing Teppei and declaring her wish to save Charlotte. Next day, the cavalry unit intercepts the Grand Hazelrink, while Teppei, Alfred in actuality, chases the train on a bike. Alfred jumps into the train and starts busting heads. Teppei jumps from a bridge and onto the train while Alfred distracts everyone. Josephine brings Charlotte in front of Teppei, blackmailing him, but she escapes Josephine and grabs Teppei. A gunshot is heard and we see Hartman having shot Josephine. After shooting her, he tells a story of his childhood. When he was a pickpocket, he met Arima Isshin when he targeted him but got caught. The humiliation he felt at that time was the cause of the hatred he felt even now, and his plan to take everything from Isshin. A fight breaks out and Teppei falls out of the train while trying to save Charlotte. Hartman cuts Charlotte's ropes and declares that he simply defeated the person who kidnapped the princess of Hazelrink, Arima Teppei. He plans on pinning the blame on Teppei. Charlotte tries to convince him with words to save Josephine. Hartman refuses, of course, and Charlotte tries to save her herself. Teppei awakens to being carried by Sylvia on a bike driven by Alfred. The bike is slow with two people, so after a game of rock, paper, scissors, Alfred is kicked off of it and Sylvia and Teppei pursue the train. Yu guides Teppei and he catches up to the train via shortcut. Meanwhile, the two soldiers end up being dropout doctors and help Charlotte save Josephine. Teppei breaks into the train and Charlotte runs towards them. Hartman chases after and the three end up in a cabin. Teppei tells Hartman that the only reason his grandfather scolded him when he was a pickpocket was because he believed he could succeed on the right path. Using his words instead of his sword doesn't seem to work and Hartman ends up blowing the train's engines. He tells Teppei that he was the one who murdered his parents. Teppei doesn't give in to revenge and tells him that he'll forgive him, before punching Hartman in the face and telling him to live on. The train blows up. Sylvia saves the two while Alfred ends up catching Hartman and dumping him into a river. Teppei and Charlotte head back to their academy, where Seika has a grand party for everyone. During a dance with everyone, Teppei realizes that his choices led to this moment right here. And that's the end of the video. As always, if you liked what you saw, subscribe to the channel. I'll be uploading a lot of videos just like this, so I'll see you at the next one.